The moment you wake up in the morning, you face a choice. You feel the warmth of your bed, the comfort that surrounds you. And then, that little voice in your head whispers, "Just 5 more minutes." It's easy to let that voice lead. Easy to stay wrapped up in the softness of the sheets, to postpone the challenges of the day. After all, it's early. The world is still quiet. But here's the truth. If you only do what's easy, life will be hard. But if you learn to do what's hard, life gets easier. In the next few minutes, you have a decision to make. You can choose the path of least resistance, the easy road where nothing much changes. Or you can choose to face what's hard, the discomfort, the pressure, the struggle. And here's the kicker. The real battle isn't out there. It's inside your mind. The war isn't against the world. It's against your own brain. Your brain is designed to protect you. It's wired to keep you comfortable, to keep you safe, to avoid pain. That's why you often find yourself putting things off, why you hesitate before taking action, why you shy away from challenges. It's not weakness, it's simply biology. Your brain prefers the safe option, the easy choice. But that's the trick. It's also the trap. You see, growth never happens in comfort. You don't build strength, resilience, or skill by staying in the warm, cozy zone. It's in the discomfort, the push against resistance, where growth begins. It's in the moments when your brain tells you to back off, to rest, to wait for better conditions. But here's the secret. There will never be a perfect moment. What you're missing, what you've been avoiding, is the power of deciding. Not waiting for motivation, not waiting for the perfect feeling or the ideal circumstances. You need to make the decision to act, to move forward, right now. When you decide, you take control of your brain. You take the wheel, instead of letting your mind drive you wherever it wants. The moment you make that decision, something shifts. It's no longer about waiting until you feel ready. It's about deciding and then doing. Think of it like a decision to get up out of bed, not because you feel like it, but because you decided you would. Imagine you're setting the tone for the day, telling your brain, "I'm doing this, whether you like it or not." And from that moment, your brain learns that you are in charge. You are the commander of your own mind, not the other way around. Your brain doesn't run the show unless you let it. It loves comfort, it loves safety, and it will always try to find ways to avoid the hard stuff. But you're not here to play it safe, to coast through life without challenging yourself. You're here to grow, to become the best version of yourself, and growth demands that you face discomfort head-on. The first step to taking control of your mind is simple. Stop negotiating with it. Every time you hesitate, every time you overthink, you're giving your brain a chance to convince you that it's okay to skip the hard task. It's a little voice in your head telling you to wait, to try again tomorrow, to avoid the discomfort. But here's the truth. Tomorrow doesn't get easier. The things you're avoiding only grow in size. The more you procrastinate. Imagine you're standing in front of a large, intimidating task, something you've been putting off for days, weeks, or maybe even months. The longer you avoid it, the bigger it becomes in your mind. The anxiety grows. The fear of failure or discomfort builds. But what if, instead of hesitating, you just started? What if you faced that task right now, without asking for permission from your feelings? You would discover that the fear, the anxiety, the pressure, it's all just noise. It's the brain doing its job. trying to keep you comfortable. But when you push through, when you take action, despite the discomfort, you realize that it wasn't as bad as you thought. The task doesn't grow. You grow. The moment you decide to face the hard things, you stop giving your brain the opportunity to stop you. You remove the option of negotiation. You remove the excuses. You take control. And that's where true growth begins. The hardest part of change is that you don't always feel ready. In fact, most of the time, you won't feel ready. You'll feel like giving up, like retreating back to safety, back to comfort. But that's just the brain trying to protect you. The brain's job is to keep you alive, to keep you in the known, to avoid the unknown. It doesn't care about your goals, your potential, your dreams. It cares about staying safe, staying comfortable. But you're not here to stay comfortable. You're here to transform. The key to lasting change is learning to act before the feelings of resistance can take over. It's in those moments when your mind is screaming for you to stay in bed, to skip the workout, to delay the project, that you have to decide to act. And when you do, you reinforce a new identity. You stop being someone who negotiates with themselves. You stop being someone who waits for motivation to strike. Instead, you become someone who takes action, regardless of how they feel. Every time you make that decision, every time you act before the doubt can settle in, you're reinforcing a new, powerful identity. You're shaping your brain to follow your lead, not the other way around. It's the daily commitment to acting first, thinking later, that creates the shift. When you push through the resistance and act despite the discomfort, you start building something incredible inside yourself. Discipline, mental toughness, and resilience. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. Your brain begins to see that taking action leads to progress, and it stops fighting you so much. The old patterns of hesitation, doubt, and fear slowly fade away. They become weaker, and your mental strength becomes stronger. We often think that we need to be in the right mood to do hard things, that we need to be inspired, motivated, or full of energy to take action. But that's a lie. The reality is that the mood will rarely match the task at hand. You won't always feel excited to go to the gym, write that report, or make that difficult call. And that's okay. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel inspired. What you need is to act anyway. The motivation doesn't come before the action. It comes after. When you take the first step, when you make the first move, that's when the motivation begins to build. It's in the doing that you find the drive to keep going. Think about the last time you procrastinated on something important. How did it feel to finally get started? Was it as bad as you imagined? Did the task get easier once you took the first step? Of course, it did. The hardest part was always the waiting, the overthinking, the hesitation. Once you started, the rest followed. This is the secret to success. Don't wait for the right mood. Act anyway. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You stop waiting for inspiration to strike, and you start creating your own momentum. And over time, the hard things stop feeling as hard. You start craving the challenge. You stop avoiding discomfort because you realize that discomfort is a signal that you're on the right track. The key to making progress isn't waiting for the perfect moment. It's mastering the art of immediate action. You have to train yourself to act quickly, without second-guessing, without letting hesitation take hold. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to move. The voice in your head grows louder. The doubts become stronger. But if you can master the first few seconds, if you can push past that initial resistance, you'll find that the rest of the journey gets easier. Imagine that you're about to start a new habit. Maybe it's working out every day or starting a new project. The first few days are the hardest, right? You feel tired, unmotivated, maybe even a little doubtful. But if you can push through those first few moments, if you can act despite the resistance, you'll find that the habit becomes easier to maintain. The same applies to any challenge you face. Action first, thoughts later. Don't wait for your brain to tell you it's time to act. Tell your brain that it's time to act, and then do it. Every time you do this, you're building momentum. Every action, no matter how small, is one step closer to mastering your mind and your life. The truth is, this journey won't always be easy. You will face setbacks. There will be days when you want to quit. But the key is to keep going, even when it's hard, even when it feels uncomfortable, because those moments of discomfort are the very things that shape your strength. So, when you wake up tomorrow morning and your brain tries to convince you to stay in bed, remember, you don't need permission from your feelings to do the hard things. You just need to decide and then do it. This is how real change happens, when you decide to show up, no matter what. And once you do, the rest follows. This is how you force your brain to do hard things. You decide, you act, and you grow. There's no perfect moment. There's only now. So take that first step. Your future self will thank you. The hardest part of any challenge is often the first step. It's not the task itself, but the decision to act. You've probably experienced this countless times. You know you should start something. Write that email. Start that project. Go to the gym. But for some reason, you don't. You keep thinking about it, planning for it, waiting for the right moment when things will feel easier, when you're more in the mood. But here's the truth. That moment never comes. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that there's a better time or that you'll feel more ready later. The truth is, you won't. Your brain will always find a reason to procrastinate, to delay, to put things off. It's easy to buy into the belief that success will come when everything is lined up perfectly. But what if I told you that the key to success isn't waiting for perfect conditions, but taking action despite them? You see, taking action isn't about waiting until you feel like doing something. It's about making a decision to act regardless of how you feel. It's about learning to commit before the motivation hits. This is where the transformation begins. It's not in the doing, but in the deciding. When you decide, you create momentum. And momentum is what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. The moment you decide to act, even when you don't feel ready, you begin to change your identity. You shift from someone who waits for motivation to someone who creates it by acting. Let's break this down further. The process of deciding to take action isn't something you do once. It's something you do every single day, every morning. You make decisions, small ones, big ones, easy ones, hard ones. And it's the hard ones that matter most. It's when you decide to act, even though your mind is telling you not to, that the real transformation happens. Now, this doesn't mean that you'll never experience doubt or resistance. It means that when you feel that resistance, when your brain tells you to wait or take it easy, you decide to do it anyway. You act despite how you feel. And it's in that action that you'll find the growth you've been waiting for. It's in those moments of discomfort, when you're doing something difficult, that you discover the strength you didn't know you had. Because here's the thing. When you decide to act, you're training your mind to become stronger. You're conditioning yourself to respond to resistance with action, not hesitation. But it all starts with the decision. You have to decide that you will act, no matter what. You decide to get up when you don't feel like it. You decide to take that first step when you feel overwhelmed. You decide to do the work, even when your brain is begging you to do something easier. It's not about having the perfect plan or waiting until everything is lined up. It's about committing to the process, to the action, to the journey. Once you make that decision, everything else follows. You create your own momentum, your own motivation, and you build the discipline necessary to succeed. At first, making these decisions will feel difficult. Your brain will push back. It will tell you that it's too hard, that you're not ready, that you'll fail. But the key to breaking through is consistency. It's about deciding every day, without exception, to push through the discomfort and take action. Think about it like building muscle. When you go to the gym for the first time, it's hard. You're not used to it. Your muscles are sore, your body is tired, and you may feel like quitting. But the more you go, the stronger you get. The more consistent you are, the easier it becomes. Eventually, what was once hard becomes part of your routine. It's the same with mental strength. The more you consistently decide to take action, the easier it becomes to push through resistance. You'll stop asking yourself, "Do I feel like it?" and start acting, regardless of your mood. You'll create a new default for yourself. Acting before hesitation can take hold. Consistency is the key to everything. It's what separates those who achieve their goals from those who stay stuck in the planning stage. The secret isn't in grand gestures or big moments of inspiration. It's in the daily, consistent decisions to act, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is turning action into a habit. When something becomes a habit, it no longer requires a lot of mental energy. It just happens. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to wait for motivation. You simply do it because it's ingrained in your routine. This is the true power of consistency. You build habits that work in your favor. The more you take action, the more it becomes part of your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who acts with purpose, someone who doesn't wait for the perfect moment. But building a habit requires effort. You have to start. And starting is always the hardest part. But once you begin, once you make the decision to take that first step, you'll find that it gets easier. The first step is deciding to act. The second step is doing it consistently. The third step is letting that action become automatic. The more you do it, the less effort it takes. The less effort it takes, the more momentum you build. And that momentum is unstoppable. Here's the most important thing you need to understand. You don't need motivation to take action. In fact, waiting for motivation is a trap. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. One day you feel inspired. The next day you feel exhausted. But your success isn't determined by how motivated you feel. It's determined by how consistently you take action. If you wait for the perfect moment to start, you'll never start. If you wait until you feel inspired, you'll never get anything done. The truth is, you have to act before you feel ready, before the motivation kicks in. That's when the magic happens. Motivation follows action. Once you take that first step, once you decide to show up, motivation will build. It will show up as you start to see progress, as you feel the satisfaction of moving forward, But here's the secret. You can't wait for motivation. You have to act without it. You create motivation by doing the work, not by waiting for it to show up. What's the key to all of this? It's mindset. You have to believe that you're capable of doing hard things, even when it feels impossible. You have to trust in your ability to decide, act, and push through resistance. And you have to know that it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up and doing the work, even when you don't feel like it. Your mindset is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. It's the difference between staying stuck in your comfort zone and pushing through the discomfort to achieve something greater. Your brain will always try to pull you back to safety. It will whisper, "Just rest for now." But you have to decide, in that moment, that you won't listen. You have to decide that you'll push through, that you'll face the discomfort, and that you'll take action, regardless of how you feel. The more you do this, the more you'll reshape your mindset. You'll stop doubting yourself. You'll stop questioning your decisions, and you'll start seeing the challenges in front of you as opportunities for growth, not obstacles to avoid. Mastering your mind is about learning to take action despite resistance. It's about overriding the natural instinct to stay comfortable and instead choosing the path that leads to growth. And the more you do it, the more powerful you become. Every time you act despite the fear, the doubt, or the discomfort, you're proving to yourself that you're in control. You're showing yourself that you can make things happen, that you can push through anything, and that you are the one who gets to decide your future. Your brain might resist at first. It might tell you that it's too hard, that it's not worth it, that you should quit. But when you choose to act anyway, you prove that you're stronger than those doubts. And with each decision, you build a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. So, the next time you face a challenge, don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel motivated. Decide, act, and watch as your mindset transforms. You're capable of doing hard things. You just have to decide to do them. You wake up. The world is quiet. The comfort of your bed wraps you like a warm embrace. You know, deep down, that today is the day you need to act. But the longer you lay there, the louder the whispers become. Just 5 more minutes, it says. You've got time. That voice is familiar, isn't it? It's the voice of procrastination, the voice that always seems to show up when things get hard. But what if you didn't listen to it? What if you decided to act right now? No excuses, no waiting. The truth is, there will never be a perfect moment. That's the cruel trick your brain plays on you. It convinces you that the ideal conditions are just around the corner, that once you feel more ready, more inspired, more motivated, then, and only then, will you take action. But the catch is, you'll never feel ready, and the moment you wait for will never arrive. The perfect mood, it doesn't exist. So, if you wait for the mood to strike, you'll keep waiting. What you need to understand is this: waiting for motivation is a trap. Motivation doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing. The key is to start before you feel ready, to take action even when it feels uncomfortable. When you make the decision to act, regardless of how you feel, something amazing happens. The resistance begins to lose its grip on you. The fear starts to fade. It's hard to believe at first, but once you begin, you'll realize that your brain was trying to trick you into staying in a place where nothing changes. When you act despite the discomfort, you're sending a clear message to your mind: I'm in charge here. And from that moment, everything begins to shift. You know the feeling. You've got something on your to-do list, and you keep thinking about it, overthinking it, planning for it. But the more you think, the less you do. Why does this happen? Why does the mere thought of a task create so much resistance? The answer lies in how our brains are wired. We're hardwired to avoid discomfort, and thinking about something often leads to more discomfort because we imagine the difficulty ahead. The longer you think, the bigger the task gets in your mind. It grows in size. It grows in fear. But that's all it is, a mental construct. The solution isn't to think more about the task or to keep analyzing it. The solution is to start. When you act before the overthinking kicks in, you break the cycle. Instead of waiting for the perfect plan, you just dive in. You do the work, no matter how messy it is. And that's how you move forward. Here's the secret. When you stop overthinking and start acting, you not only overcome the resistance, but you also begin to build confidence. Every time you push through the hesitation and do something anyway, you prove to yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. And each small victory adds to your mental strength. So, the next time you find yourself overthinking a task, stop. Don't allow yourself to stay stuck in the loop. Make the decision, take the first step, and do the work. When you do, you'll notice that the task isn't as intimidating as you once thought. The fear and resistance were only there because you kept thinking about it. Once you act, the fear dissolves, and in its place, confidence. So, let's talk about shifting from thought to action. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck isn't that the successful ones are more talented or more intelligent. It's that they've learned to take action despite the uncertainty. They don't wait for things to be perfect. They just decide and move forward. When you commit to taking action, no matter what, you take control of the situation. You stop being a passive observer of your life. Instead, you become the driver. You decide what happens next, not your feelings, not your doubts, and certainly not the voices in your head telling you to wait. Let's break this down further. When you're facing a difficult task, you might feel overwhelmed. You might wonder if you're capable. Your brain might start to tell you that you're not ready, that you'll fail. But here's the truth. You don't need to feel ready to act. You need to decide to act. That's it. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to have all the answers. What you need is the courage to start. Every successful person has had doubts, has faced challenges, has felt unsure. But they didn't wait for the doubts to go away. They took action, despite the doubts. They didn't let their thoughts dictate their behavior. They acted anyway. And that's the key. When you start, even in the face of uncertainty, you're proving that you can handle the discomfort, that you can grow through it. Now, let's talk about emotions. Emotions play a huge role in how we approach challenges. But here's the thing. Emotions are not always reliable. They don't always match up with the task at hand. You might feel anxious, scared, or doubtful before doing something difficult. But these emotions don't have to control you. You don't need to feel excited or motivated to act. In fact, most of the time, you won't. The key is not letting your emotions control your actions. You have to learn to take action despite your feelings. If you wait for the perfect mood or for your emotions to align with your goals, you'll never get anything done. Take a moment and think about a time when you overcame a challenge. How did you feel before you started? Was it easy? Were you motivated? Probably not. But you did it anyway. You acted despite the emotions, despite the uncertainty, and once you started, things got easier. That's because action doesn't follow emotion, it creates emotion. When you take action, even when you don't feel like it, you're training yourself to take control of your emotions. You're teaching yourself that your feelings don't have to dictate your actions. And the more you do this, the stronger you become. Commitment is one of the most powerful tools you have. When you commit to something, you are making a promise to yourself. It's not a suggestion. It's not a maybe later. A commitment is a definitive decision to follow through, no matter what. The problem with many people is that they treat their goals like suggestions. They think, I'll try, or I'll get to it when I feel like it. But that's not commitment. Commitment means doing what you said you would do, even when it's difficult, even when you don't feel like it. You can't be half committed and expect results. Half commitment doesn't work. It's like saying, I'm going to start working out, but only when I feel like it. That's not commitment. Commitment is saying, I'm going to work out every day, no matter how I feel. And when you make that commitment to yourself, when you decide to follow through, regardless of how you feel, you will find that the impossible becomes possible. It becomes a matter of not quitting, of pushing through the discomfort, of trusting that the results will follow if you just stay consistent. Commitment is the difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't. It's not about talent. It's not about motivation. It's about deciding and sticking with it. One of the greatest benefits of action is that it creates momentum. Think about it. When you take that first step, you begin to build the energy you need to keep going. But if you stay stuck in hesitation, in overthinking, in waiting for the right moment, you never create that momentum. Momentum is what turns small steps into big progress. It's what takes a goal that feels impossible and makes it achievable. But the only way to build momentum is to act. The more you act, the more momentum you create, and the more momentum you create, the more you're capable of achieving. So don't wait for motivation to strike. Act first. That's how momentum starts. And once it does, there's no stopping you. Every time you face resistance, your mind tries to convince you that it's a warning, a sign that you should stop, step back, or find an easier path. But resistance isn't the enemy. In fact, it's the very thing that shows you where growth lies. The challenge is not to avoid resistance, but to learn how to navigate through it, to use it as a signpost for progress. This is where many people go wrong. They see resistance, whether it's in the form of procrastination, fear, or doubt, as a signal to quit. They believe the discomfort they feel is something to avoid. But in reality, resistance is a signal that you're on the right track. If you're feeling resistance, it means you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, and that's exactly where growth happens. So, the next time you feel resistance creeping in, when your mind starts telling you to quit or put things off, understand that this is the moment when you must dig deeper. You have to push through, not around it. This is where the magic happens. This is where you build strength. Not just physical strength, but mental and emotional strength. Think about the things that make you uncomfortable. What are the tasks you dread the most? The things you've been avoiding? The projects you keep pushing off because they feel too hard? Now, I want you to ask yourself one question. Why are you avoiding them? The answer is simple: because they matter. The more important something is to your growth, the more resistance you'll feel toward it. That's why starting a new workout routine feels so hard at first. It's why launching a new business can be terrifying. The more significant the goal, the more your brain will try to talk you out of it. Why? Because your brain wants to protect you from discomfort. But here's the truth: discomfort is your ally, not your enemy. You grow through discomfort, not by avoiding it. The key to achieving anything worthwhile in life is learning how to lean into that discomfort, to feel the fear and push forward anyway. The moment you learn how to do that is the moment you stop letting resistance control you. Imagine you're standing at the edge of something new and challenging. Maybe it's starting a new project, speaking in front of a crowd, or tackling a difficult conversation. You feel the resistance building inside of you, the fear, the hesitation, the urge to run away. This is where most people falter. They listen to that voice in their head, telling them to back off, to wait for a better time, or to simply avoid the discomfort. But what if you decided to step into the discomfort instead? What if, instead of listening to the voice telling you to stop, you leaned in and said, "I'm going to do this anyway"? That shift in perspective, choosing to embrace the discomfort rather than avoid it, is the difference between success and failure. Resistance is not something to fear. It's something to lean into. Every time you take that step forward, even in the presence of fear, you break the cycle of avoidance and build your mental strength. Each time you feel resistance and choose to act anyway, you reinforce your new identity as someone who doesn't back down in the face of adversity. It's in these moments, these small decisions, to keep moving forward despite the discomfort, that you rewire your brain. You teach yourself that resistance doesn't control you. You control how you respond to it. Fear is a natural part of resistance. But what if I told you that fear itself is often a signpost, a signal that you're about to step into new territory? Fear often shows up when you're on the edge of something transformative. It's your mind's way of saying, "This is important. You're about to grow." The key is to not be paralyzed by fear, but to use it as a tool. Instead of letting it stop you, use it as fuel. Every time fear rises up, recognize it for what it is: an invitation to grow, an invitation to break through your old limits. Take a moment to think about something you're afraid of doing. It could be something small, like speaking up in a meeting, or something bigger, like asking for a raise or starting a new career path. Now, ask yourself, what would happen if you did it anyway? What if you used that fear to push you forward rather than letting it hold you back? The truth is, the fear won't go away, but you can use it. Fear becomes less powerful the more you face it head on. The more you act in spite of fear, the less control fear has over you. And the more you move forward, the more you'll realize that most of the things you feared were never as bad as you imagined. When you face resistance and choose to push through, you don't just overcome the challenge in front of you. You create momentum. Each action you take, no matter how small, adds to your momentum. And momentum is what carries you through the toughest times. Think of momentum as a snowball rolling down a hill. The more you move, the bigger and faster it gets. It starts slow, but as you continue, it gains speed and strength. This is exactly how progress works. In the beginning, it feels like a struggle, like you're pushing against a mountain, but the more you keep moving, the easier it gets. Momentum isn't just about physical actions. It's about mental momentum, too. The more you take action, the more confident you become in your ability to handle challenges. The more you act despite resistance, the more you build a new identity, one where you trust yourself to follow through, no matter how hard it gets. So, the next time you feel that resistance, remind yourself that this is your moment. This is where the growth happens. This is where you build your momentum. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to keep moving. Have you ever wondered why your brain tries so hard to avoid discomfort? It's simple. Your brain is wired for survival. For centuries, humans have had to stay safe to survive. Discomfort, pain, or unfamiliar situations often signal danger. That's why your brain is so quick to avoid anything that feels unsafe or uncertain. But here's the twist. We're no longer living in a world where avoiding discomfort equals survival. In fact, in today's world, avoiding discomfort is what keeps us stuck. It's what keeps us from reaching our potential, from growing into the best version of ourselves. Think about the things you've accomplished in your life. When you look back, you probably realize that the biggest growth moments came during times of discomfort. It's when you faced the challenge head-on, when you stepped into the unknown, that you learned and grew the most. When you consistently face resistance, when you choose discomfort over comfort, you build mental toughness. Mental toughness isn't about being invincible or immune to fear. It's about learning how to respond to fear and discomfort with resilience. It's about getting back up after every setback, keeping your focus even when things get hard, and never quitting. Mental toughness is built by repetition. The more you face resistance, the stronger you become. It's a muscle, just like physical strength. And just like with physical strength, you won't see immediate results. But over time, as you keep showing up, as you keep facing challenges head-on, you'll notice that what once felt impossible now feels easier. Mental toughness isn't about never feeling fear. It's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. As you move forward in your journey, remember this. Resistance isn't a roadblock. It's a signpost. Every time you feel resistance, you're on the verge of growth. Instead of running from it, lean into it. Use it as a guide to show you where the greatest opportunities for growth lie. You're stronger than you think. You can do hard things. You just need to decide, right now, that you'll face the discomfort and take action anyway. That's where growth happens. There's something incredibly powerful about discipline. It's often misunderstood, seen as something rigid, harsh, or even a little dull. But in reality, discipline is the foundation of mental strength. It's what transforms fleeting motivation into lasting results. It's what turns an idea into action, and that action into consistent, tangible progress. Think about it. Anyone can feel motivated to make a change when the sun is shining, when everything is going well. It's easy to show up when things are smooth, when life isn't throwing challenges your way. But real discipline, the kind that gets results, is what keeps you going when it's hard. When motivation is nowhere to be found, and when you'd rather hit the snooze button for just a few more minutes. Real discipline is about showing up, regardless of how you feel. It's about making decisions with clarity and purpose, and following through on those decisions, even when the emotions or external circumstances are telling you to take a step back. Consistency is the true hallmark of discipline. It's not about doing something once and expecting change to happen. It's about doing it again and again, even when you don't feel like it. Every time you decide to act, You're reinforcing a habit. Every time you choose to do the hard thing, you're building mental toughness. This is where most people struggle. They start strong. They're pumped up, inspired, and ready to take on the world. But after a few days, when the initial excitement fades, they falter. They get distracted. They let themselves off the hook, or they convince themselves that tomorrow will be better. But tomorrow isn't any better. And eventually, the cycle of inconsistency becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You make a decision, then break it, and start all over again, never really making progress. The solution isn't about waiting for the perfect time to show up. It's about deciding today, regardless of the circumstances, to stick with your commitments. Whether it's getting up early to work on your goals, eating healthy, or facing a difficult conversation. Discipline is about doing what you said you would do, when you said you would do it. Commitment is more than just a promise you make to others. It's the promise you make to yourself. And here's the catch. If you break your commitment to yourself, you're not just delaying your progress. You're damaging your own self-trust. You're telling yourself that you're not reliable, that your word doesn't matter, and that you can't be counted on to follow through. The most successful people are those who have built the habit of honoring their word. They don't let distractions, feelings, or temporary obstacles derail them. When they say they're going to do something, they do it. Not because it's easy, but because they've committed to it. And here's the best part. Commitment, just like discipline, becomes easier over time. At first, it may feel hard. You may feel like quitting or backing out. But the more you stick with it, the more natural it becomes. Your brain begins to rewire itself. The discomfort becomes familiar, and the resistance becomes just another step toward success. So, how do you build this level of commitment? It starts with small, consistent actions. Start by committing to one thing each day. Make it something that's non-negotiable. Maybe it's something simple, like going for a walk every morning, or writing 500 words a day. Over time, as you prove to yourself that you will follow through, you'll start seeing your self-trust build. The problem with many goals is that we're too focused on the outcome. We set a goal, and we're laser-focused on the end result. But the problem with this is that the outcome is often out of our direct control. We can control our effort, our discipline, our consistency, but the outcome depends on many factors. This is why many people get discouraged when they don't see results immediately. They put in the effort, but the result doesn't come as quickly as they'd hoped. And that's when they start questioning themselves. They start doubting their progress. They start thinking that maybe it's not worth it. Maybe they're not cut out for this. But here's the key. It's not the outcome that should motivate you. It's the process. If you focus on the action, the things you can control, then the outcome will eventually follow. The results will come as a natural byproduct of your consistency. Think of it like a journey. Every step you take is progress, even if it doesn't seem like it. Every decision to act, every small action, is building the foundation for something bigger. The outcome will come, but you're building it with every action you take. The best way to ensure long-term success is by creating habits that automatically support your goals. The more you can turn your efforts into habits, things you do without thinking about it, the easier success becomes. Let's take exercise as an example. Most people start a fitness routine with high motivation. They commit to working out every day. They get excited about their goals, and they push through the first few weeks. But motivation fades, and before they know it, they're back on the couch, telling themselves they'll start again tomorrow. Why does this happen? Because they're relying on motivation, not habit. Motivation is fleeting. It's high one day, low the next. But when something becomes a habit, you don't need motivation to do it. It's part of your routine. It's something that feels natural. This is why discipline and consistency are so important. If you can turn your most important actions into habits, whether it's exercising, working on your goals, or staying productive, then you don't have to rely on motivation. You'll just do it because it's part of who you are. It becomes automatic. To build a habit, start small. Commit to a small, manageable action that you can consistently do every day. Maybe it's as simple as writing down 3 things you're grateful for every morning, or taking 10 minutes to plan your day. Over time, these small actions will build the habit of consistency, and consistency is what turns your dreams into reality. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that discipline means doing things perfectly, but that's simply not true. Discipline is about showing up, even when things aren't perfect. It's about making progress, not seeking perfection. You don't need to do everything perfectly to make progress. In fact, perfection is an illusion. The more you chase perfection, the more frustrated you'll become. Because perfection doesn't exist. There will always be something to improve, something to refine, something to tweak. What matters most is consistent effort. It's about showing up every day, doing the best you can, and trusting that the small steps will add up over time. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need to know the end result right now. You just need to show up and do the work. The more you do, the more you'll improve, and the closer you'll get to your goals. Mental toughness isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Just like physical strength, mental toughness is developed through consistent effort. It's the ability to keep going, to push through, to stay focused when things get tough. It's the inner resilience that says, I will keep going, no matter what. The good news is, you can build mental toughness by doing hard things. The more challenges you face, the stronger your mental muscles become. The more you push through discomfort, the more confident you become in your ability to overcome future obstacles. Mental toughness isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about facing them head-on and rising stronger every time. So, how do you build this mental toughness? It starts with your daily practice. Every day, you make decisions that either strengthen your discipline or weaken it. The small choices matter. Every time you act despite resistance, you build a little more mental strength. Every time you push through discomfort, you become a little tougher. Commit to building your discipline every day, whether it's waking up early, finishing a task before moving on to something else, or following through on a promise you made to yourself. Every decision counts. Discipline isn't something you wait for. It's something you build. And as you build it, you'll notice a remarkable shift in your mindset. You'll stop waiting for motivation, and you'll start relying on your own willpower to get things done. You'll realize that you are the one in control. Every single day, you face countless choices. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, your mind is constantly weighing options. Do I get up now or stay in bed for just a few more minutes? Do I go for a run or do I relax today? Do I take action on that project I've been putting off? Or do I check my email one more time? The truth is, your life is shaped by the decisions you make. Each choice is either moving you closer to your goals or further away from them. But here's the kicker. Most of the time, the choices that truly matter aren't big. dramatic decisions. They're the small, seemingly insignificant choices that, when repeated consistently, build the life you want or the life you're trying to avoid. We often think of success as something that happens in a flash, in a single moment of brilliance. But real success is built from hundreds of thousands of small decisions made daily. The choices you make in the moment, when no one is watching, when you feel like quitting, when the easy option is right in front of you. That's where success is truly forged. Every choice you make, no matter how small, is a micro-decision. These micro-decisions accumulate and shape your habits, which, in turn, shape your character and your destiny. So, if you want to change your life, you don't need to start by making huge, grandiose changes. Instead, start by making better micro-decisions. For example, let's say you decide to get up and start working on your goal, even though your bed feels so comfortable. You might think, it's just one decision. What does it matter? But that decision matters. It matters because it's building the habit of acting, even when you don't feel like it. It's reinforcing your commitment to yourself, to your growth, and to your future. The more you make these micro-decisions, whether it's choosing to work on your project, picking up a book instead of scrolling through social media, or choosing to get outside and move instead of lounging on the couch, the more you create a pattern of action. And that pattern, over time, becomes who you are. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, who takes action, and who doesn't let the momentary discomfort of now keep them from their long-term goals. If you want to grow, you have to choose the harder path, the path that requires discipline, focus, and persistence, the path that pushes you outside of your comfort zone and forces you to face resistance head-on. But here's the thing. This doesn't mean you need to make things unnecessarily difficult. The goal isn't to choose hard things for the sake of difficulty. It's about choosing the hard things that matter. Choosing the path that leads to progress, that leads to growth, that leads to the life you want. Take a moment to think about your goals. What's the harder choice you could make today to move toward them? It might be waking up 30 minutes earlier to work on a personal project. It might be saying no to a social event so you can focus on your health or career. It might be taking that difficult conversation you've been avoiding because you know it will move your relationships forward. Choosing the harder path isn't about making things harder for the sake of it. It's about choosing the right path, even when it's uncomfortable. And when you do this consistently, you'll look back and realize that what once felt difficult now feels like second nature. In today's world, we're constantly surrounded by instant gratification, a quick hit of dopamine from social media, a binge-worthy TV show, an easy snack that requires no preparation. It's all around us. The world has become a place where we want things now. We don't want to wait. We don't want to work for it. And we certainly don't want to endure discomfort. But instant gratification is one of the biggest obstacles to success. The truth is, the things that truly matter, success, growth, personal fulfillment, rarely come instantly. They take time, they take effort, they take consistency. And every time you choose the easy, instant gratification route, you're putting off the long-term rewards. Here's the reality. The more you seek instant gratification, the further you get from your long-term goals. It's the opposite of choosing the harder path. It's choosing what feels good right now, even though it might keep you stuck tomorrow. The key to overcoming this trap is learning to prioritize long-term fulfillment over short-term pleasure. Delayed gratification is the antidote to instant gratification. It's the ability to resist the urge for immediate pleasure in order to achieve something more valuable later. It's about choosing to work for the future, even when the present feels uncomfortable. Delayed gratification is the skill that separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't. It's about making small sacrifices today for bigger rewards tomorrow. It's about choosing the discomfort now to set yourself up for success later. Think about this in terms of fitness. It's easy to choose the immediate pleasure of lounging on the couch or eating something unhealthy. But if you can resist that instant gratification and commit to a workout, commit to healthy choices, you're building a future where your body is stronger, more resilient, and healthier. And that feeling of accomplishment and vitality in the future is worth so much more than the fleeting pleasure of a lazy afternoon or junk food. Delayed gratification is a muscle that you can build. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. And the more you choose long-term rewards over short-term pleasure, the closer you'll get to your goals. The key is to remind yourself that the things that really matter will take time. They won't come instantly, but they'll be far more fulfilling when they do. Now, I want you to think about your life as a series of small decisions, one after another. Every day, you make choices. Some are easy, some are hard, some are inconsequential, and some are monumental. But over time, those choices add up. If you want to change your life, you don't need a massive overhaul. You don't need a big event to trigger change. You just need to make better choices consistently. The person you become, the life you live, is the sum of all the choices you make every day. The small ones, the big ones, the hard ones, the easy ones. They all count. So, when you face a challenge today, a choice between comfort and discomfort, remember this. It's not the big decision that matters most. It's the small decisions you make consistently, day after day. It's the choice to act, to decide, to commit, to follow through. These are the decisions that shape your life, and the more you make the right choices, the more you'll feel empowered, the more you'll believe in your ability to change, to achieve, to grow. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You just need to decide, and then act. Procrastination is another enemy that stands in the way of success. It's the result of avoiding discomfort. When something feels difficult, we procrastinate to avoid the unpleasant feeling. But here's the catch. Procrastination doesn't solve the problem. In fact, it makes it worse. The more you avoid the task, the bigger it gets in your mind. The longer you procrastinate, the more anxiety builds, and the more time you waste. The solution is simple. Start. Even if it's just a small action. Take that first step. Don't wait for the perfect moment, for the perfect mood, for the perfect plan. Start anyway. The moment you begin, you break the cycle of procrastination. You create momentum, and momentum is your ally. Once you take that first step, you'll find that the task becomes easier. It's no longer something to fear. It's something you can handle. And before you know it, what once seemed overwhelming becomes just another task you've completed. In the end, it's the small wins that matter most. Every day that you choose to act, every decision to push through resistance, every moment that you face discomfort and choose to move forward, those are the wins that build your success. The big wins come later, but it's the small wins that create momentum. The more small wins you collect, the more confidence you build, and the more confidence you have, the easier it becomes to tackle bigger challenges. Remember, your future self is built on the choices you make today. so make them count. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the right time. Act now, and let each small win build the future you want. There's a certain kind of power that comes from staying the course, even when the road gets tough. Most people give up long before they reach their destination. They falter at the first sign of resistance, the first hint of discomfort. But success doesn't come from avoiding the hard stuff. It comes from sticking with it. It comes from pushing through when every fiber of your being wants to quit. The truth is, you are capable of more than you realize. It's not about talent. It's not about being special or gifted. It's about grit, perseverance, and commitment. It's about the ability to keep going when the journey feels endless, when progress seems slow, and when doubt creeps in. So how do you stay the course when the going gets tough? How do you keep going when you feel like quitting? The first step is to change how you view failure. Too many people see failure as a dead end, a sign that they're not cut out for success. But what if I told you that failure is a stepping stone, not a roadblock? Every failure, every setback, every time you feel like you're not making progress, is just part of the process. Failure isn't a reflection of who you are. It's simply a lesson in disguise. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to adjust your course. The key is to fail forward. When you fail, don't give up. Learn from it. Ask yourself, what can I do better next time? And then get back up and keep moving. Remember, some of the most successful people in the world are also the ones who have failed the most. It's not their lack of failure that sets them apart. It's their ability to persevere in the face of it. They view each failure as part of their growth, as an opportunity to improve, to get closer to where they want to go. Resilience is one of the most important qualities you can develop on your journey toward success. Resilience is the ability to bounce back after adversity, to face setbacks and challenges without losing momentum. It's about learning how to adapt when things don't go as planned, and how to keep going, no matter what. How do you build resilience? Start by embracing discomfort. The more you practice facing adversity head-on, the stronger your resilience becomes. Every time you step into discomfort, whether it's tackling a difficult task, having a tough conversation, or pushing yourself beyond your limits, you're building resilience. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain or struggle. It's about learning how to thrive in the midst of it. It's about staying focused on your goals, even when the path isn't smooth, and having the mental toughness to keep going. Consistency is what makes the difference between those who succeed and those who fall short. But consistency doesn't mean doing the same thing over and over, without variation. It means showing up day after day, even when you don't feel like it. It means committing to the process, rather than obsessing over the end result. The key to staying consistent is to create systems that support your goals. When you have a clear structure, a routine that you can rely on, it becomes easier to stay on track. You don't have to rely on motivation to show up because your systems are already in place. They guide you. They keep you moving forward, even on days when you feel like skipping. Start by breaking down your big goals into smaller, manageable tasks. Then, commit to completing those tasks, one by one, even if you don't feel like it, even if the tasks seem small or insignificant. It's the consistency that counts. The more consistently you show up, the more you'll develop momentum. Momentum is what propels you forward. It's what makes it easier to keep going when the going gets tough. And once you have momentum, it becomes a lot harder to stop. Distractions are a natural part of life, but they're also one of the biggest obstacles to staying consistent and achieving your goals. It's easy to get sidetracked, especially in today's world where distractions are everywhere. But every time you give in to a distraction, you're delaying your progress, wasting your time, and losing momentum. To overcome distractions, you need to create boundaries. Set clear guidelines for yourself. Block out time for your most important tasks, and protect that time like it's sacred. Eliminate anything that doesn't align with your goals. This could mean turning off notifications on your phone, setting up a designated workspace, or scheduling time for deep work with no interruptions. Another powerful tool is learning how to prioritize. Not everything that demands your attention is worth your time. Focus on what matters most and let everything else fall away. It's easy to get caught up in the small stuff, in things that seem urgent but aren't actually important. But if you want to achieve your big goals, you need to focus on the things that will move you closer to them. To stay motivated and committed, it's important to have a clear vision of where you're headed. A vision gives you something to work toward. It gives you a sense of purpose and direction. Without a vision, it's easy to get lost in the daily grind and forget why you're doing what you're doing. Start by defining your long-term goals. What do you want your life to look like in 5 or 10 years? What does success mean to you? Once you have a clear picture of your future, break it down into actionable steps. What can you do today, this week, this month, to move closer to that vision? A clear vision will keep you grounded when things get tough. It will remind you of why you started, and it will give you the energy to keep going, even when you face obstacles. When you know where you're headed, it's easier to stay focused on the journey. One of the most powerful tools in staying consistent and motivated is accountability. When you have someone holding you accountable, whether it's a friend, a mentor, or a coach, you're far more likely to follow through on your commitments. Accountability creates a sense of responsibility, and that can be a huge motivator when you feel like slacking off. Find someone you trust who can help you stay on track. Share your goals with them, and let them know when you've achieved them. Check in regularly to keep yourself accountable. This creates a sense of urgency and pushes you to keep moving forward, even when the motivation wanes. You can also hold yourself accountable by tracking your progress. Write down your goals and the steps you're taking to achieve them. Review them regularly to see how far you've come. This will help you stay focused and motivated as you continue your journey. On your journey toward growth, it's important to remember that you are human. There will be setbacks. There will be days when you don't feel like showing up. There will be times when you fail, and it will feel discouraging. But here's the thing. Failure is not a reflection of your worth. It's part of the process. The most successful people in the world have failed countless times. What matters is how they respond to failure. So, when you slip up, don't beat yourself up. Be kind to yourself. Recognize that setbacks are temporary, and they don't define you. Take a deep breath, learn from the experience, and get back on track. Self-compassion is key to staying resilient. It allows you to keep going without the weight of shame or self-doubt dragging you down. And it reminds you that progress is a journey, not a destination. The most important lesson to take away from all of this is simple. Never give up. No matter how many times you fall, no matter how many obstacles stand in your way, you can always get back up. You can always start again. The moment you choose to keep going, even when it's hard, you are already succeeding. Your future self is counting on you to keep moving forward. Every step you take, no matter how small, is getting you closer to the person you want to become, to the life you want to live. So, don't let fear, resistance, or failure hold you back. Keep going. The best is yet to come. If there's one universal truth about success, it's this: nothing happens without action. We can talk all day about dreams, goals, and aspirations, but unless we're willing to put in the work, nothing will change. The foundation of success is built on consistent action, day in and day out. And while that action might feel small, insignificant, or even unimportant in the moment, it's the compounded effort over time that makes all the difference. The key is to embrace the grind. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture, to dream about the end result. But when you zoom in and look at the journey, you'll realize that success is a result of countless small, deliberate actions. Each decision to act, to move forward, no matter how small, stacks up to create momentum. A common mistake people make is waiting for the perfect conditions before taking action. They think they need all the details, all the answers, and all the right resources before they can even begin. But this mindset only holds them back. The truth is, you'll never have everything figured out. You'll never feel perfectly ready. So, you have to be willing to act imperfectly. Imperfect action doesn't mean cutting corners or doing things recklessly. It means starting before you feel ready, pushing forward despite the fear, doubt, and uncertainty. When you take imperfect action, you learn, you adjust, you refine, and you grow. The more you act, the more you discover what works and what doesn't. And that knowledge is invaluable because it leads to progress, even when the path isn't clear. Imagine you're trying to start a business. You might not know everything about marketing or sales or finances, and the fear of failure could easily stop you from taking the first step. But if you let that fear control you, you'll never get anywhere. Instead, take the first step, even if it feels messy. Maybe you launch a website that isn't perfect, or you make a few sales calls without a polished pitch. It's through action that you'll gain the experience and insight you need to improve. Over time, you'll adjust and refine your approach. But none of that will happen if you're waiting for everything to be perfect before taking that initial leap. Fear is often the biggest thing standing between you and your dreams. It tells you that you're not good enough, not prepared enough, not capable enough. But here's the truth. Fear doesn't go away. You don't conquer fear and then stop being afraid. Fear is a constant companion on the journey to success. But the key isn't eliminating fear. It's learning how to take action despite it. If you're waiting for fear to disappear before you take action, you'll be waiting forever. Fear is a natural response to stepping outside of your comfort zone. It's a sign that you're pushing your limits, that you're growing, and that you're on the edge of something important. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't the absence of fear. It's their response to fear. Successful people act in spite of fear. They feel it, acknowledge it, but they don't let it control their decisions. Every time you take action in the presence of fear, you diminish its power. You teach yourself that fear isn't an obstacle. It's just part of the process. And every time you act, despite feeling scared or unsure, you become more confident and capable. One of the most powerful things you can do to build momentum is to break down big tasks into small, manageable steps. Big goals can feel overwhelming and intimidating, but if you focus on the next step in front of you, just the next action you need to take, it becomes a lot easier to move forward. Consistency is key. You don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to complete the entire project in one sitting. But if you commit to taking small, consistent steps every single day, over time, you'll make remarkable progress. Let's say you want to write a book. Looking at the whole project can feel daunting. But if you break it down into smaller tasks, writing 500 words a day, for example, you'll find that the process becomes much more manageable. It's not about writing the entire book in one day, but about writing one sentence at a time. Every day, you chip away at it, and before you know it, you've written an entire chapter, then an entire book. The key to achieving big goals is breaking them down into small, actionable steps and doing them consistently. Each small step brings you closer to your destination, and with consistency, your momentum builds. Distractions are everywhere. The world is full of noise, social media, emails, texts, news, and endless other interruptions that constantly pull our attention away from what really matters. But in order to achieve your goals, you need to learn how to stay focused. Focus is like a muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. Start by creating clear boundaries for your time. Set aside specific periods during your day when you'll focus entirely on your most important tasks. During these times, eliminate distractions, turn off notifications, silence your phone, and focus solely on the task at hand. Another strategy is to practice single tasking. It's easy to think that multitasking makes us more productive, but studies show that multitasking actually decreases efficiency and increases stress. Instead, focus on one task at a time. Give it your full attention. This will help you accomplish more in less time and with greater clarity. One of the most effective ways to stay motivated is to celebrate small wins along the way. Big achievements are often months or years in the making, but small wins happen every day. They might seem insignificant, but when you stack them up, they create momentum. Each time you finish a task, no matter how small, you are building momentum. You're proving to yourself that you can do it. And momentum, as we've discussed, is a powerful force. It fuels you to keep going, even when things get difficult. Every small win strengthens your belief in your ability to achieve your bigger goals. So, take time to acknowledge your progress, even if it's small. Whether it's completing a chapter of your book, sending an email to a potential client, or simply sticking to your exercise routine for a week. Those small wins are building your path to success. At the heart of everything we've talked about is one powerful, often overlooked factor: self-belief. You can have all the strategies, all the systems, all the tools, but if you don't believe in yourself, none of that matters. Self-belief is the foundation of action. Without it, you'll constantly doubt yourself, second-guess your decisions, and fail to follow through. But here's the thing. Self-belief isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Every time you make a decision and follow through on it, you strengthen your belief in your own ability. Every time you act, despite fear, despite resistance, you prove to yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. And as your self-belief grows, so does your capacity for success. Start by affirming your strengths. Remind yourself of the things you've already achieved. Celebrate your progress. The more you build self-belief, the more you'll take bold actions toward your goals, and the easier it will be to stay on track when the inevitable challenges arise. Perfectionism is one of the biggest obstacles to taking action. It's the belief that things must be perfect before you can begin. But perfection is an illusion. There is no such thing as the perfect time to start, the perfect plan, or the perfect result. Perfectionism only serves to keep you stuck, waiting for conditions that will never come. Instead of striving for perfection, focus on progress. Aim to improve, not to be flawless. The key is to keep moving forward, learning from your mistakes, and growing through the process. Imperfect action is better than no action at all. Don't let perfectionism stop you from taking the first step. Everything you do today is creating your future. The actions you take now, whether it's working on a project, improving your skills, or building your mindset, are laying the groundwork for your legacy. Your future is a direct result of the actions you take now. So ask yourself, what kind of legacy do you want to create? What kind of person do you want to become? The future isn't some distant, far-off place. It's being built right now, in the small decisions and actions you make each day. Your legacy is being created in the moments when you choose to act, even when it's hard, even when you feel unsure. The choice is yours. Will you take action today? Will you build the future you want, step by step? Your legacy begins with your commitment to act. Right now, let's get real for a second. You've set your goals, you've made your commitments, and you know what you need to do. But then, life happens. Distractions pop up. Setbacks occur. And suddenly, you're looking at your to-do list feeling like you've hit a wall. Your mind starts telling you that maybe this is too hard. Maybe you're not cut out for it. Or maybe you should just throw in the towel. But here's the thing. Setbacks aren't failures. They're part of the process. Every successful person has faced obstacles, doubts, and challenges. What separates those who make it from those who give up is the ability to move past those setbacks and keep going. You're not going to succeed because everything is smooth sailing. You're going to succeed because you develop the resilience, grit, and mental fortitude to push through when things get tough. And in that pushing through, you'll build the exact mental strength you need to achieve your goals. It's easy to get fixated on the end result. We've all done it. We imagine the finish line. We dream about the rewards. And we focus on what we're going to achieve once we get there. But here's the catch. The journey is just as important as the destination. In fact, it might even be more important. The reason so many people fall short of their goals is that they're so focused on the outcome that they forget to fall in love with the process. The day-to-day effort, the discipline, the small victories. Those are the things that build success. If you're only motivated by the result, you'll burn out along the way. You'll lose steam when things get hard or when the rewards seem too far away. But if you can learn to embrace the process, to find satisfaction in the grind itself, you'll be able to push through the rough patches and keep moving forward, even when it feels like you're not making any progress. Success is built in the small, everyday moments of effort. It's about waking up every day, doing the work, and trusting that every small step will add up to something bigger. When things get tough, your mindset is what will either make or break you. It's easy to get discouraged, to think that the challenges are too big, that the odds are stacked against you. But when you have the right mindset, you see challenges as opportunities to learn, to grow, and to become better. A growth mindset, as opposed to a fixed mindset, helps you embrace challenges instead of avoiding them. It shifts the way you view failures. They're not signs of defeat, but stepping stones to success. With the right mindset, you stop seeing obstacles as things that hold you back and start seeing them as necessary parts of your growth. When you encounter a challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to grow stronger? The answer to these questions is the difference between giving up and pushing through. With the right mindset, you'll see that the struggle itself is the reward. Every moment you spend working through a challenge is a moment you're building strength, both mentally and emotionally. No journey is without its detours. There will be moments when things don't go according to plan, when your original path doesn't lead where you thought it would. But one of the most powerful skills you can develop is the ability to adapt and pivot when things aren't going the way you expected. When you encounter obstacles or challenges, rather than giving up or staying stuck, ask yourself, how can I adjust? What new path can I take? You may need to adjust your approach, change your strategy, or find a new way to achieve your goal. Adaptability is crucial because life doesn't always follow a straight line. But the people who succeed are the ones who are willing to change course when necessary, to keep moving forward despite setbacks. This doesn't mean giving up on your goals or abandoning your mission. It means being willing to try new things, experiment, and learn from what isn't working. If something isn't yielding results, figure out why and find a new solution. The key is to stay flexible. You can still achieve the same goal, but you may need to approach it from a different angle. Success isn't about hitting the finish line first. It's about continuing to show up over and over again. No matter how many times you fall, no matter how many mistakes you make, persistence is what turns good intentions into real achievements. Think about the times you've been close to giving up, when the pressure was too much, when the obstacles seemed insurmountable. It's easy to throw in the towel and decide that it's just too hard. But persistence is about staying in the game when it feels like everyone else has quit. It's about continuing to show up, even when the odds are stacked against you. One thing to remember: there is no shortcut to success. The people who succeed aren't the ones who take the easiest route. They're the ones who keep going when things get hard. They fail, they learn, and they keep moving forward. Persistence is a skill, and like any skill, it gets stronger the more you practice it. Motivation is powerful, but it's also fleeting. Some days you'll feel on top of the world, ready to take on anything. Other days, you'll struggle just to get out of bed. The key is to not rely solely on motivation to get things done. Motivation is important, but it's consistency that will bring you to the finish line. One way to stay motivated over the long haul is to remember your why. Why you started in the first place. Whether it's achieving financial freedom, improving your health, or building a legacy. Keep that big vision in mind. Your why will keep you grounded on days when motivation is low. Another way to stay motivated is to celebrate your progress. Every time you hit a small milestone, take a moment to recognize it. It doesn't matter if it's big or small. Celebrating those wins helps you stay focused and reminds you that you're making progress. Finally, surrounding yourself with people who support you can make a huge difference in staying motivated. Share your goals with others. Find a mentor, or join a community that can keep you accountable and encouraged. Being part of a network that shares your values and goals helps reinforce your commitment and reminds you that you're not alone in your journey. Consistency is what allows you to keep moving forward, even in the face of setbacks. It's the ability to stay committed to the process, no matter how long it takes or how many failures you encounter. Every small action you take, every decision to show up, adds up over time. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means staying on track, even when things aren't perfect. It's about showing up day after day and doing the work, even when it feels like nothing is happening. The small things add up. The hours you put in, the effort you invest, the persistence you show. All of it compounds over time. When you encounter setbacks, don't get discouraged. Remind yourself that this is just part of the process. Keep showing up. Keep taking those small steps, even when they feel insignificant. Because in the end, it's those small steps, taken consistently, that lead to success. When you're deep into the grind, it can be difficult to see the bigger picture. But trusting the process is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. The road to success is rarely linear. There will be peaks and valleys, moments when you feel like you're moving forward, and others when it feels like you're stuck. But if you trust the process, you'll know that each step, even the tough ones, is moving you in the right direction. Remember, success is a journey, not a destination. There will be moments of doubt, moments when you wonder if it's all worth it. But if you trust the process and stay committed to the journey, the results will come. So, keep pushing, keep showing up, and keep trusting the process. Success is waiting on the other side. At this point in your journey, you've probably faced some tough moments. You've battled with resistance, fought against procrastination, and wrestled with the temptation to give up. But here's what I need you to understand. You are becoming stronger with each challenge you face. Every obstacle is an opportunity to build resilience. Every moment of struggle is shaping you into someone who can handle whatever comes next. And while it may feel like you're not making progress in the moment, the truth is, you're laying the groundwork for future success. So, what comes next? How do you take everything you've learned, everything you've overcome, and channel it into something powerful? One of the most powerful tools you can develop in this process is the ability to embrace discomfort. It's easy to want to avoid difficult tasks, to shy away from challenges that make you feel uneasy. But here's the truth. Growth happens in discomfort. It's in those moments of discomfort where the most valuable lessons are learned. It's where mental and emotional strength is forged. Discomfort is not a signal to retreat. It's a signal to move forward. The next time you feel that resistance rising, that pull to avoid the hard thing, lean into it. Choose to face the discomfort head on. The more you do this, the less power discomfort will have over you. It will become familiar, and eventually, it will feel like nothing more than a stepping stone to something greater. It's in those moments when everything inside you is saying, "Stop," that you must push through. The discomfort you're feeling is a sign that you're breaking through a barrier, that you're shifting to a new level. The more you lean into that discomfort, the more it will transform into your greatest ally, pushing you forward with every challenge you face. Motivation is often fleeting. It comes in waves, peaks at moments of inspiration, and fades when the initial excitement wears off. But consistency is what makes the difference. It's the ability to show up day after day, regardless of how you feel, that truly defines success. If you rely solely on motivation to get things done, you're setting yourself up for frustration. Motivation is wonderful when it's there, but it's not something you can depend on to move you forward consistently. The real key is discipline, which stems from showing up even when motivation is nowhere to be found. Think about it like this. You don't have to feel motivated to go to the gym to see progress. You don't have to feel inspired to work on your project to make it happen. What matters is deciding ahead of time that you will do the work. Discipline allows you to keep your promises to yourself, even when your emotions or external circumstances try to pull you off course. Self-doubt is something that creeps in when you least expect it. It whispers that you're not good enough, that you'll never succeed, that you're wasting your time. But here's the thing. Self-doubt is not the truth. It's simply a feeling that arises when you push yourself outside of your comfort zone. And like discomfort, self-doubt is a sign that you're growing. The key to beating self-doubt is action. The more you take action, despite how you feel, the less power doubt will have over you. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a reaffirmation that you are capable, that you are moving forward, and that you are worthy of success. When self-doubt creeps in, acknowledge it, but don't let it define your actions. Instead of sitting with the uncertainty, keep moving. Do something that reinforces your progress. And over time, you'll notice that the voice of doubt gets quieter, because you're building undeniable evidence of your ability to succeed. Perfectionism is often disguised as a desire to do things right, to make sure everything is in place before moving forward. But in reality, perfectionism is just another form of procrastination. It's a fear of not being good enough, a fear of failure, and a fear of criticism. Here's the harsh truth. Perfection doesn't exist. There will always be something to improve, something to tweak, something to adjust. But if you wait for everything to be perfect before you take action, you'll never get started. You'll never take that first step. Instead of striving for perfection, focus on progress. Every action, even if it's not flawless, is bringing you closer to your goal. And each time you take action despite imperfection, you build your confidence and trust in the process. Give yourself permission to fail. Give yourself permission to learn along the way. The more you take imperfect action, the more momentum you'll build. The more you move forward, the more confident you'll become in your ability to succeed. Setting intentions is about making a conscious decision to align your actions with your goals. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day tasks, to lose focus and drift without purpose. But when you set clear intentions, you give yourself a sense of direction. You remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing, and you create a framework that guides your actions. Intentions aren't just about setting goals. They're about defining the how behind your actions. They give you clarity, focus, and a deeper sense of purpose. Instead of drifting through your day, constantly reacting to what comes your way, you're proactively creating the life you want. Ask yourself, what is my intention today? Whether it's writing 500 words, completing a project, or making progress toward a larger goal. Setting clear intentions ensures that every action you take is aligned with your ultimate vision. One of the biggest challenges in the pursuit of success is the fear of the unknown. It's easy to want to stay in your comfort zone, to avoid the uncertainty that comes with trying something new or pushing yourself beyond what you know. But the unknown is where the magic happens. The fear of the unknown is simply your brain trying to protect you from risk and failure. But risk is a necessary part of growth. The more you expose yourself to the unknown, the more you'll realize that it's not something to fear, it's something to embrace. It's the place where creativity, innovation, and personal growth thrive. Instead of fearing the unknown, start getting comfortable with it. Take small steps into unfamiliar territory, whether it's starting a new project, trying a new approach, or meeting new people. Take action in the face of uncertainty. The more you do this, the less fear will have over you, and the more you'll unlock your potential. As you pursue your goals, it's easy to get caught up in what's not working, what you haven't achieved yet, and what still feels impossible. But gratitude is a powerful tool that can keep you grounded and focused on the positive. Gratitude is about acknowledging and appreciating what you have, what you've achieved, and who you are, even while you're in the process of striving for more. It helps you stay connected to the present moment and prevents you from getting lost in the future or overwhelmed by obstacles. Start a gratitude practice. Every day, take a moment to reflect on the things you're grateful for, no matter how small. This simple habit will help you maintain a positive mindset, even when the going gets tough, and it will remind you that you are already on your way. Ultimately, everything comes down to trust. Self-trust is the foundation of everything you do. If you don't trust yourself, you won't take action, you won't follow through on your commitments, and you won't achieve your goals. Building self-trust is a process, but it starts with small commitments that you follow through on. It's about showing up for yourself, even when it's hard, and proving that you can rely on yourself to do what you said you would do. The more you keep your promises to yourself, the stronger your self-trust becomes. And as your self-trust grows, you'll find that your ability to take bold, decisive action becomes easier. You'll trust yourself to handle whatever challenges come your way, and that trust will propel you toward success. You're probably familiar with the phrase, "It's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get up." It's a classic line often used in motivational speeches and self-help books, and it's popular because it's true. The process of reaching your goals is less about the number of obstacles you face and more about your ability to keep getting back up after each setback. What truly determines success is not your ability to avoid challenges, but your ability to persist in spite of them. So how do you get back up every time you fall? How do you keep moving forward when everything inside you wants to quit? The answer is simple: resilience. Resilience is your ability to bounce back from adversity, to keep going after you've been knocked down. But just like any other muscle in your body, resilience needs to be trained. It's something that grows stronger the more you use it. Resilience isn't just about surviving hardship. It's about learning and adapting from it. When you face a setback, don't just brush it off and move forward as if nothing happened. Take the time to reflect on the experience. What did you learn from it? How can you use that lesson to become better, stronger, and more capable moving forward? The key to building resilience is to stop seeing failure as something permanent. Failure is just a moment, not a lifetime. The real measure of resilience is how quickly you can bounce back, how quickly you can learn from mistakes, and how quickly you can adjust your approach. Think of resilience as your ability to keep taking action, to keep moving toward your goals, no matter how many times life knocks you down. The more resilient you become, the less likely you are to stay stuck in a negative mindset or feel defeated by challenges. Another crucial element of building resilience is learning the art of letting go. It's easy to get fixated on mistakes or failures, to replay the same situation over and over in your mind, wishing you'd done things differently. But holding on to that negative energy can weigh you down and prevent you from moving forward. Letting go isn't about forgetting. It's about choosing not to let the past control your present or future. It's about learning from what happened, then freeing yourself from the emotional burden that comes with regret or frustration. The sooner you can let go of what didn't work, the faster you can channel your energy into what you can do next. Holding on to past failures or mistakes doesn't help you grow. It only keeps you anchored to a place you've already left. Letting go is about acknowledging that it's time to move on and focus on the future. One of the biggest secrets to success is reframing your setbacks. Every failure, every obstacle, every tough moment can be reframed as an opportunity to grow. Instead of seeing failure as something to be avoided, see it as a necessary step toward success. Without obstacles, you wouldn't have the opportunity to learn, evolve, and strengthen your abilities. Every time you experience a setback, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this experience help me grow stronger? This mindset shift allows you to turn every obstacle into a stepping stone toward your bigger goals. Reframing setbacks is also about adjusting your expectations. We often think success should come quickly or smoothly, but the truth is, it rarely does. Success is messy, and it's not linear. By reframing setbacks, you can see them as part of the journey instead of something that derails your progress. As much as resilience is a personal trait, it's also something that can be strengthened through support. The people you surround yourself with can have a massive impact on your ability to persevere in tough times. Having a strong support network of friends, family, mentors, or even colleagues who believe in you can make all the difference. When things get tough, they can help you stay focused on your goals, encourage you to keep going, and offer perspective when things feel overwhelming. But it's not just about having others to lean on. It's also about giving support to others. When you offer help, encouragement, or advice to those around you, you reinforce your own resilience. You begin to see that resilience isn't just about standing strong on your own. It's also about lifting others up along the way. Patience is a quality that is often underestimated, especially in a world that rewards instant gratification. But when it comes to achieving your long-term goals, patience is everything. You're not going to build a successful business or achieve personal growth overnight. It takes time, consistency, and dedication. Patience is not about waiting passively for things to happen. It's about staying committed to your path, even when progress feels slow. It's about trusting the process and knowing that all your efforts will eventually pay off. The key to mastering patience is focusing on the small wins, the small victories that happen every day. When you measure progress in small increments, it's easier to stay motivated and stay the course. Self-reflection is one of the most powerful tools you have on your journey to success. It's the process of looking back on your experiences, evaluating what went well and what didn't, and figuring out what you can do differently moving forward. Without reflection, it's easy to repeat the same mistakes and miss valuable lessons. Take time regularly to reflect on your progress. Ask yourself what's working, what's not, and where you can improve. Don't be afraid to face your weaknesses. Instead, embrace them and use them as opportunities for growth. Reflection allows you to learn from the past and refine your approach as you move forward. One of the most important aspects of self-reflection is being honest with yourself. It's easy to make excuses or blame external factors when things don't go according to plan. But true growth comes when you take responsibility for your actions, own your mistakes, and make a plan for how to move forward. Mental toughness is the ability to persevere through difficulties, to stay focused on your goals even when the going gets tough. It's about being able to handle stress, pressure, and adversity without losing your composure or giving up. Mental toughness is a skill that can be developed. It starts with building resilience, practicing patience, and developing a mindset that doesn't waver in the face of challenges. The more you push yourself to stay strong, the stronger your mental toughness will become. One of the key aspects of mental toughness is staying calm under pressure. When things get difficult, it's easy to panic or feel overwhelmed. But mental toughness allows you to remain composed, focus on the task at hand, and take the necessary steps to overcome the challenge. The most successful people in the world aren't necessarily the most talented or the most intelligent. They're the ones who never let up. They don't let setbacks, obstacles, or failures stop them from pursuing their dreams. They take it one day at a time, one step at a time, knowing that every small effort adds up. This mindset is about persistence, the ability to keep going, even when it's hard, even when it feels like you're not making progress. The key to success is never giving up. No matter how many times you fall or how long it takes to reach your goals, it's about staying in the game and pushing forward, no matter what. The reality is, life is going to throw challenges at you. There will be days when you want to quit, when you feel like it's not worth it. But if you can commit to never letting up, to showing up every day and doing the work, you will eventually get to where you want to go. Your journey isn't going to be easy. You'll face obstacles, setbacks, and challenges. But remember this: every challenge you face is an opportunity for growth. Every time you get back up, you're strengthening your resilience. Every moment of discomfort is pushing you closer to your goals. As you continue forward, trust in the process, trust in yourself, and most importantly, trust that your persistence will pay off. Stay focused, stay resilient, and never give up. The best version of yourself is on the other side of all the challenges you'll face. By now, you've probably started to realize that success is not about avoiding failure or obstacles. It's about how you respond to them. The most successful people aren't the ones who never face challenges, but those who learn to navigate them with determination, focus, and persistence. Success is an attitude. It's a mindset that is built through consistent effort and the ability to overcome what life throws at you. In the previous sections, we've discussed the importance of pushing through discomfort, building resilience, and embracing the grind. Now, let's talk about how to accelerate your progress, fine-tune your mental game, and finish strong. When you're on the journey to achieving your goals, your internal drive is your most powerful tool. External factors like motivation, encouragement from others, or rewards may give you a boost, but it's the inner drive that sustains you through the hard times. To harness your internal drive, you need to develop a clear sense of purpose. Purpose is the fuel that keeps the fire burning when motivation fades. It's what gives you the strength to keep going when there are no external rewards, when no one is watching, and when the task seems thankless. If you can connect every action to a deep, personal reason, whether it's building a better future for your family, leaving a legacy, or simply becoming the person you've always wanted to be, you'll find that staying committed becomes effortless. Ask yourself, why are you doing this? What's the bigger picture? The more you can align your daily actions with your ultimate purpose, the easier it will be to tap into your drive, even on your toughest days. In today's world, we're constantly bombarded by distractions, social media, emails, phone notifications, and endless entertainment all pull our attention in 1,000 different directions. But if you want to achieve anything meaningful, you need to hone your focus. Focus is not just about staying on task. It's about directing all your energy and attention toward the things that truly matter. The more focused you are, the less time and energy you'll waste on things that don't contribute to your growth or your goals. The key to cultivating focus is to simplify. Start by eliminating distractions from your environment. Turn off notifications, set boundaries around your time, and create an environment conducive to deep work. Then, practice single tasking. Give yourself permission to fully immerse in one task at a time and resist the urge to multitask. The more you practice focus, the sharper and more natural it becomes. When you focus, you channel all your resources toward the task at hand, and you begin to see rapid progress. The more you can stay focused, the faster you will see results, and the faster you'll get closer to achieving your goals. As much as we talk about the hustle, the grind, and pushing through challenges, rest is just as important. Without proper rest and recovery, you risk burning out, and that will stop your progress dead in its tracks. It's crucial to remember that rest is a tool, not a sign of weakness. It's a way to recharge your mental, emotional, and physical energy so you can continue to perform at your best. Strategic rest means taking breaks when you need them and incorporating downtime into your routine. This doesn't mean slacking off or wasting time. Instead, it's about working hard when you need to and resting hard when you need to as well. Incorporate activities like meditation, reading, or taking short walks into your daily schedule to clear your mind. Get quality sleep, eat well, and nourish your body. By making rest a priority, you give your brain the time it needs to process and recover, so you can come back with fresh energy and renewed focus. Rest is not an indulgence. It's a necessary part of your journey toward success. A powerful way to stay motivated and measure your success is by tracking your progress. The act of recording your actions and milestones not only helps you stay organized, but also provides you with visible evidence of how far you've come. When you can see how much you've accomplished, even the smallest victories, it will encourage you to keep going. Tracking progress can take many forms: a journal, a spreadsheet, a checklist, or an app. Whatever method you choose, make sure you regularly review your progress and celebrate your successes, no matter how small. When you track progress, you also gain insight into what's working and what's not. If you're not seeing the results you want, it's time to adjust your approach. Tracking gives you the data you need to refine your strategy and make necessary changes to stay on course. One of the most effective ways to succeed is to leverage your strengths. We all have areas where we naturally excel, whether it's problem solving, creativity, communication, or physical endurance. Instead of focusing on your weaknesses, use your strengths to your advantage. By recognizing and harnessing your natural talents, you can accelerate your progress and stand out from the crowd. If you're particularly creative, for instance, use that creativity to find innovative solutions to problems or develop unique strategies. If you're a strong communicator, use your ability to connect with others to build relationships and create opportunities. When you align your goals with your strengths, success becomes less about effort and more about using what comes naturally to you. By leaning into what you do best, you give yourself an advantage in your journey and create a more enjoyable path toward your goals. It might sound strange, but fear of success is a very real thing. As strange as it seems, some people fear success because it requires them to leave their comfort zones, take on greater responsibility, or step into a new version of themselves. The fear of success often manifests as self-sabotage or procrastination. But it's important to understand that this fear is just as limiting as the fear of failure. The first step to overcoming fear of success is recognizing it. Understand that success requires change in your identity, your responsibilities, and the way you relate to the world. It's normal to feel anxious about these changes, but you have to acknowledge that success doesn't mean losing yourself. It means evolving. To conquer the fear of success, commit to embracing the growth process. Recognize that change is not something to fear, but something to embrace. Start by celebrating each small success and taking ownership of the changes that come with it. The more you embrace your successes, the easier it becomes to continue reaching for higher levels of achievement. As you continue to grow and succeed, it's important to stay humble. Humility doesn't mean thinking less of yourself. It means thinking of yourself less. It means recognizing that you are part of something larger than yourself and that your success is not solely the result of your efforts. Staying humble involves recognizing the contributions of others who have helped you along the way, whether it's mentors, colleagues, or family members. It's also about staying open to feedback, learning from others, and understanding that there's always room for improvement. Humility keeps you grounded, reminding you that success is a journey, not a destination, and that there is always more to learn, achieve, and share. The truth is, success is not a destination. It's a journey. It's about the process, the growth, and the lessons you learn along the way. Success is not something you achieve and then stop. It's something that evolves as you do. As you achieve your goals, new ones will emerge. As you grow, new challenges will present themselves. But that's the beauty of success. It's a constant evolution. The more you achieve, the more you realize how much you can still grow. So, don't think of success as something you check off your list. Instead, see it as a lifelong journey of growth. Stay focused, stay committed, and remember that every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you're meant to become. You are already on your way. Keep going, because the best is yet to come. We've covered a lot in this journey so far. You've learned about the importance of action, the power of mindset, resilience, and the value of perseverance. But now, it's time to wrap it all together and understand how to make all this work in real life. How do you translate everything you've learned into sustainable long-term success? How do you keep momentum going even when things slow down or feel uncertain? The answer lies in commitment to the process and making sure you never stop evolving, no matter where you are on your journey. Remember this: the person you are today is not the person you need to be forever. The way you handle life's challenges, the way you adapt to setbacks, the way you approach your goals, it all depends on your willingness to evolve and grow. By now, you've probably heard that success isn't about short bursts of energy or bursts of motivation. It's about consistent action over time. And when we say consistency, we mean it's not just about showing up when you feel like it. It's about showing up, day in and day out, even when motivation fades. Consistency is the difference between someone who keeps starting over and someone who sees their goals come to fruition. The truth is, life will never get easier. There will always be challenges, distractions, and setbacks. But those who succeed are the ones who learn to commit to the process, no matter what. Think about it. If you want to get in shape, consistency is key. It's not about hitting the gym for an intense workout one day and then sitting on the couch the next. It's about showing up each day, even when you don't feel like it, and pushing through the discomfort. The more you practice that, the more natural it becomes to stay committed. The same applies to anything else you want to achieve, whether it's building a business, writing a book, or mastering a new skill. The key to success is consistency. Start with small actions and gradually build up. Over time, you'll see how those small, seemingly insignificant efforts add up to massive progress. To achieve consistency, you need systems. Systems help you stay on track and eliminate the need for motivation to get things done. When you have a system, you don't need to rely on willpower or inspiration to show up every day. You have a plan in place that guides your actions. Systems are about setting up a structure that works for you. Maybe it's a morning routine that gets you focused, or an evening ritual that helps you wind down. Maybe it's creating a checklist that helps you stay organized and prioritize tasks. The more you structure your day with purpose, the less energy you'll waste, and the more productive you'll be. Think about successful people. They often have very specific routines and systems in place. They've mastered the art of creating habits that set them up for success. By developing your own personal systems, you make the path to achieving your goals much clearer. One of the most common pitfalls people face on the road to success is lack of boundaries. It's easy to get pulled in 100 different directions when life demands your attention. But if you want to stay focused and stay consistent, you need to protect your time. This means setting boundaries with other people, saying no when necessary, and dedicating uninterrupted time to your most important tasks. It also means creating space in your life for rest and recovery. Boundaries are not about being rigid or inflexible. They're about respecting your own time and priorities. Set specific times for focused work. Turn off distractions, like your phone or social media notifications, during those times. Create dedicated blocks of time for things that move you closer to your goals, and protect those times as non-negotiable. Boundaries also involve managing your energy. If you're constantly running on empty, you won't be able to perform at your best. Be mindful of what drains you, and be deliberate about replenishing your energy. This might involve spending time with loved ones, engaging in activities that relax you, or taking regular breaks to recharge. Your time and energy are precious resources, and managing them wisely is essential for long-term success. Self-sabotage is one of the most insidious barriers to success. It often manifests as procrastination, perfectionism, or negative self-talk. But at its core, it's the unconscious belief that you don't deserve success, or that success is too difficult to achieve. It's the little voice that says, "I can't do this," or "It's not worth the effort." But self-sabotage is not a fixed trait. It's a behavior that you can change. To overcome it, you first need to recognize when it's happening. Are you putting things off? Are you second-guessing your decisions? Are you backing away from discomfort when you know that's exactly where growth lies? Once you identify self-sabotage patterns, you can consciously choose to interrupt them. Start by committing to small actions that align with your goals, and don't let doubt or fear get in the way. Every time you act, despite feeling unsure, you break the cycle of self-sabotage and reinforce your ability to follow through. When you catch yourself sabotaging your progress, remind yourself that you are capable and you deserve success. Challenge the negative thoughts and replace them with empowering beliefs that fuel your growth. The more you practice this, the less self-sabotage will influence your actions. Success doesn't just happen, it requires vision. Your vision is the mental picture of what you want to achieve and who you want to become. Without a clear vision, you may find yourself wandering aimlessly, chasing after goals that don't really matter. Take some time to visualize your future. What does your ideal life look like? What are you doing? Who are you with? And how do you feel? Create a vivid, detailed image of your future and make it as real as possible in your mind. This vision will serve as your North Star, guiding you through the ups and downs of your journey. Once you've established your vision, break it down into actionable steps. What can you do today that will bring you closer to that future? Small, incremental progress every day adds up to big results over time. At the core of success is self-discipline, the ability to control your impulses, stay focused, and stick to your commitments, even when it's difficult. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation fades, and it's what helps you stay consistent over the long term. Self-discipline is like a muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. Start by setting small, achievable goals and consistently meeting them. Over time, your self-discipline will grow, and you'll find that staying focused on your goals becomes second nature. One of the most important elements of self-discipline is learning to delay gratification. The world is full of distractions and temptations that pull us away from our goals. But success requires that you make the tough choices, the ones that are hard in the moment, but lead to greater rewards later on. As you move forward on your journey, don't forget to celebrate your progress. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and forget to take a moment to appreciate how far you've come. Every step you take, every milestone you reach, deserves recognition. Celebrating your progress doesn't mean being complacent. It means acknowledging how much effort you've put in and using that recognition as motivation to keep going. Celebrating progress helps reinforce the idea that success is a series of small wins rather than one big achievement. As you reach new heights and achieve your goals, don't see it as the end of your journey. See it as the beginning. Each achievement is a stepping stone to something even greater. Every goal you accomplish opens the door to new opportunities and new challenges. Success is not a destination, but a continuous cycle of growth, learning, and pushing your limits. The person you become in the process, the resilience, the strength, the discipline, becomes part of your identity. Success is not just what you achieve, but who you become along the way. So, stay committed, keep pushing forward, and remember that this is your journey. No one can take it from you. It's all yours to own, and the possibilities are endless.